Hello, I'm Teresa. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me here today. Today we're going to be experimenting with different types of ink on the gel plate and using stamps to create stamped images with a sort of gradient effect, and then printed backgrounds with the negative image that we have left on the plate after we've lifted some ink with a stamp. I've turned them into a selection of finished projects here. But it's a really simple technique, and it'll show you the sort of differing effects that you get depending on the type of ink pad that you use. So I'm going to clear these out of the way and I shall be back to show you how it's done. I'll begin as always with a quick rundown of the items I'm using today. The plate I'm using is my 6-inch square gel press brand gel printing plate. And I've got a Ranger red rubber brayer to apply my inks. I have a selection of different inks to try out. I have some Catherine Pooler ink pads. These are a dye-based ink pad. I have some Distress Oxide inks. They're a hybrid between a dye and a pigment ink. And I have a selection of colours of VersaFine Clair ink pads, and these are a pigment ink pad. So we're going to be sort of showing what differences, if any, there are between the different types of inks. I just have some smooth white cardstock here, just out of my card making stash today. I'm going to be working on that. And I have a selection of stamps. And these range from background stamps, like this all over floral design here by the ton. This is the Morning Glory Park cluster background stamp. I have this set of 4 small background stamps. They're sized for ATCs. This is from artfuldays.co.uk, and this is just their backgrounds set of stamps. I have a text stamp, and this is Gillian Vance design called His Feathers Bookmark, with a lovely quote on it. And I have some Dina Wakley stamps. These are the words in faces. And I thought these would work quite well because they're a bold line design. So obviously you want something that's going to sort of work well as the lines, whatever the lines or the text or whatever, this will be white and then the colour will be the background. So we're almost working with a negative of the stamp design. As always, water in a spray bottle for cleaning my plate, along with some paper towel. And that's it. Other than I will be finishing off these prints. I'll make a greetings card and a couple of ATCs probably just by using some other bits of cardstock and sort of glue and things like that. But today's technique is all about using your stamps with the different inks to create interesting backgrounds or focal points for card making for the most part. So to begin with, I'm going to put some ink onto my pad. I think the first ones I'm going to try are some of these little ATC backgrounds. And I figured I can fit 2 of these on at a time. So I'm going to work, I think, with the VersaFine Clair ink pads. So I've got a set of 3 colours here that I think will work well together. Charming Pink, Purple Delight and Monarch. And the others that I've got that I want to try are Verdant, Warm Breeze and Rainforest. Again, I thought they would work well together. So I'm going to apply some ink onto my plate. I'm going to use the brayer just to even that out and blend those colours together. As always, I've got just a scrap of paper off to the side to clean my brayer onto. And I'm going to take, first of all, this little apple design. that down on my plate, and I think it's like a little funky bird with a crown. Press that on. Just want to press down so that we've got good contact with the plate, and we'll be removing some ink. And to lift up my stamp, and I don't want to waste the ink that's on here, so I'm going to press down on a piece of cardstock. Same with my second one. So we've got a couple of stamped images here that we can use for a background. But I'm also going to now put my piece of cardstock down on the plate. And transfer this ink to create our print. And as you can see, you get a negative image because the inks sort of resist the plate resists the inks somewhat. You get this slightly bubbly effect, but it makes for a real nice textured background. And once this is trimmed down and we've popped a little focal image or something on, it creates a really interesting background. So I'm just going to clean my plate off. I'm going to repeat that technique with the green inks and the other two stamps in this set. Next up, I think I'm going to use the Catherine Pooler dye inks that I've got here, and I'm going to use those with these Dina Wakley Words in Faces stamps. Again, the principle is going to be exactly the same. I'm going to choose some colours. And the dye inks are wetter than the pigment inks. So let's see if that has any effect in the background, in the sort of the texture that we might get. Obviously these colours are a little softer. This is a pastel set. I can't remember if it was part of the Spring Fling set. It might be, I'm not sure. But again, we're going to use the brayer. And once again, I think I'm going to choose two designs. I can fit two on here. So we've got a softer, more watercolour effect there. And let's see if our background has that same more soft focus effect. And definitely there's more beading, the image is less defined. It's a little clearer here on this blue. But yeah, there's a marked difference between this and our pigment ink background. I'll repeat it with a different colourway and we'll see what effect we can get with some different colours.
Call it a day. Fight off 1,000 monsters hiding in the sands on Mars. Hijack a flying saucer, steady on the hand, fly home, sweet home, where the saucers go to get all clean.
Finally, I'm going to use my Distress Oxide ink pads. And these are a hybrid ink pad. There are other types of hybrid pads on the market. But I'm going to see what effects we can get with these. I've used these before on the gel plate and quite like the effect that you get with them. So I think I'm going to just do my background, use this lovely big Morning Glory background stamp. So I've put down fossilised amber and I think I'm just going to add a little wild honey to the edges.
And put away, call it a day.
Finally, I'm going to use the text stamp that I've got, but I'm only going to be using the image that I actually stamp, because if I try and do the background will be reversed. So I've just popped the stamp onto an acrylic block just simply because there's not a lot to hold on to here and I want to be able to lift it from my plate. And I'm hoping I'm going to get a nice sort of gradient effect. I've got broken china and salty ocean. Thinking of maybe just adding a little chipped sapphire as well because it's a bit darker. And hopefully we'll pick up enough ink onto this stamp for a nicely gradient sentiment. And there it is. It's not the most obvious gradient, but it is darker at the edges, but I'm happy with that. But obviously, if I was to now take a print of this, the image would be reversed. So I'm just going to lift off the ink that's left on there on my scrap piece of paper, but there's no point keeping it because the wording would be the wrong way around. So I'm just going to clean up my area, and I'll come back and show you the prints that we've got, and then we'll make a couple of completed projects. And here are our finished prints. I love any technique that gives us a sort of a bonus, so that we get the images that we've stamped with this lovely gradient, and then we get this background, slightly more grungy looking background. I think the greens actually turned out a little bit clearer than those purple ones. Really like that, and I like the colour gradient that I've got there. So looking forward to turning those into some little gift cards or ATCs. Funnily, the greens in the VersaFine Clair came out clearer, yet I feel the green colour wasn't so clear here in the Catherine Pooler inks, albeit we got this very nice soft watercolour effect with the stamped image. Again, it's very sort of a ghostly background that we've got, but again, a pretty stamped image. Now, one thing that I can do, and I might just to show you an effect, is we could stamp over this and get almost like a shadow effect. So I'll show you that in a finished item. Then I've got my words here, really nice, sort of bit of a soft gradient there, and my beautiful background. The distressed oxides give a really nice, quite a smooth finish. So I love the detail in both the stamped image and this background image. So I'm going to go ahead and complete a couple of finished projects just to show you how to use these backgrounds that we've created. Be back in a moment to show you. And here are my finished ideas. I've still got quite a number of both the backgrounds and the stamped images left here to use. I can use those up on another day, but I've made some little ATCs, artist trading cards. If you trade ATCs, then these are perfect, but they also make really good little gift tags or note cards, things like that. So always worth having as a little stash that you could then pop them onto a larger card blank if you wanted a quick and easy card. So these I've just added some metal embellishments and then some stickers. I think these are I think they're called the Big Chat. They're the Tim Holtz ideology stickers. So we've got these two here with the green backgrounds. I've then just shown you what the ones with the stamped image look like. Again, a couple of metal embellishments and some sentiment stickers on those. Now the background they were a little indistinct, as you could see with the Catherine Pooler image, Catherine Pooler inks. So I then stamped the face onto a piece of acetate and then flipped it over. Now I had to flip it over because if you remember, these backgrounds are reversed. If you'd got a perfectly symmetrical stamp design, you wouldn't have to flip it over. But so I stamped onto a piece of acetate with some stays on ink, perfect for on sort of slippery surfaces, flipped it over and then attached it with some little staples, and I just offset it ever so slightly so that the white almost acts as a highlight, and I think that really it works well to add a little dimension to that image. Just created a tag there, just popped it on some black card and onto a tag. So that was another one of our faces. The stamped ones came out really quite pretty, just made a small gift card. And then finally that beautiful floral background and quote from Psalm 91. I've created this pretty card, added a couple of paper flowers and leaves at the end, at the bottom there, but really pleased with how that's turned out. So I hope this has given you a little clarification and a few ideas of the fact that you can use different types of inks but may get differing results depending on the inks. If you've got plenty of stamps in your stash, you can use the gel plate as a way of transferring ink onto your stamp in order to stamp, especially good if you want to create some of these gradient effects. But then you also have the printed background to work with as well, so a real sort of 2-for-1 project here. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall see you again soon. But for now, that's all. Bye.
Back home, sweet home, where the heroes go to get all cleaned up. Anyway, let's call it a day.